Hey everybody, it's Olivia Rondo coming at you with a reaction for PolitiBrawl, and today we are going to look at yet another instance of left-wing, beta, low testosterone, soy-ridden males attacking Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace from South Carolina for whatever reason. I think lately it's because she's quote-unquote transphobic, but they hate a lot of Republican women and they like to use their big male power to intimidate them. And look at this. She's in the makeup store. Let's go see this big tough guy confront a much smaller Congresswoman in Ulta Beauty.
I do them every year.
Every year.
You want to keep going?
Do you
want to keep going and keep harassing me? You could have gone to a dozen town halls last year.
I asked if you're doing any more this year. It was one simple question.
Yeah.
Are you doing a town
I've already done one. I'll do plenty more.
Are you doing any more this year? It was a simple question.
You're always invited.
Okay, sweet. Well,
and by the way, I voted for gay marriage twice.
What does that have to do with me?
So I'm just saying, it has everything to do with you.
Do you think everything about me has to do with gay marriage?
I do.
I'm sorry, sir. You're in Ulta Beauty. You see that you're the only male in there, and you're wearing Daisy Dukes. Even I don't wear shorts that short. And saying, what does gay marriage have to do with me? Roll the tape.
That's your first stance when you speak with me?
Absolutely.
There's no other humane
if you want to get in my face
about
town halls, you should have shown up to one last year.
There's no other humane thing you can talk about me just saying, oh, I support gay marriage.
Yeah,
that's
because you're getting in my face about a town hall. You could have gone last year.
Would you like me? If you have any plans to have more town halls this year?
I have town halls every year. I have over a dozen every year.
Great. That was my entire question. You didn't have to go into the spiel about
You could have come to any of them last year.
Okay. And
I had over a dozen.
Not 2024.
Where were you the year before that? Okay. Or the year before that?
It was a simple question.
Oh, because you know what? Because you people on the left are crazy.
So
you're absolutely...
See right there where he takes a step towards her and kind of leans like, I asked you a simple question. I'm sorry. You're 6 foot something. You're in your dungarees. I know you think that makes you think you can talk to women any type of way. You're in the facial cleanser aisle of Ulta Beauty. She doesn't know you. You're a stranger. You're a man. You know, you're trying to be intimidating and saying, oh, I just asked you a simple question, asking about her town hall. What, so you can see her in person again? I find that really weird. It's an unprofessional way to talk to a congresswoman. And, you know, I've talked to many Democrat members of Congress and the Senate, and this is just not how you approach people who you disagree with. Roll the tape.
Crazy.
I'm absolutely
you crazy. Are. And get out of my face.
You're insane.
Goodbye.
You're insane.
Well,
you're going to be voted out so fast this year.
I'm not. I won by so much.
You're a disgrace to this state. That's what you are. You're a disgrace. I asked you a simple question, and you just go on this tirade and tell me you.
Yeah, fuck you.
Disgusting.
Get out of my face. Get out of my face. Try it again. What's your name? What's your name? What's your name?
Okay. This is just a perfect example of left-wing, low testosterone, soy, beta-filled, Starbucks avocado toast filled eating males thinking they can get away with misogynistic slurs. And yes, saying somebody is a nasty B word, that is you attacking her for being a woman. You would never call a male congressman a B word. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Because this is really about to make me mad. But I'm kind of laughing because he just looks so pathetic and ugly in those little shorts.
Absolutely. Get the fuck out of my face. Now. Fuck you. You couldn't take me on, baby. Stay the fuck away from me.
You couldn't take me on, baby. Okay, so that was the end of the altercation in Ulta before this man stomped away in his dungarees. Then Nancy Mace goes on Hannity on Fox News and then reacts there. So now we're going to react to her reaction a little bit because I think she makes some good points here.
I went to the store. I had a little bit of time to myself on Saturday afternoon, want to go shopping like I do. I'm a normal person. I do my own grocery shopping. And this guy approached me, and I will tell you, I felt threatened, I felt harassed, and I will tell you as someone who's experienced trauma in her life, and a lot of women will understand what I'm talking about, when some guy gets in your face and approaches you in the aggressive manner that he did, and you feel like you're in danger, instinctively as women who've been through trauma, who've survived sexual assault, survived domestic abuse, you have two options. You can fight or you can flee. And Sean, I'm a fighter. And I've never stood back down from a fight. I will stand my ground like any strong woman should. And I will tell you, this was the third incident I had last week alone. The incidences of threats, the threat of violence, the people coming up and harassing me in public has increased exponentially over the last 6 months since I came out, standing up against the trans community, standing up against men in women's dresses. And I just had an event at the University of South Carolina about an hour ago. I wrapped it up, and a man in a dress picked up a potted plant and acted like he was going to throw it against me. I just posted that video on Twitter. You can follow it at Nancy Mace or nancymace.org. You can find it online. But my security team thought he was going to throw the plant at me because I used the word babe. He was offended by it. And then I used the word trans, and he was more offended by it. But the lunatics on the left, they're dangerous, and women need to stand up for themselves. And I was the first member of Congress to say, I'm going to hold the line for women and girls everywhere. And since that time, the amount of aggression that I've had from mentally ill men, from men in dresses, from men approaching me in public, like this guy, this Daisy Dukes guy, the short shorts guy, just as I was trying to buy face wash. It's not okay.
So let me start off with saying, I like that she's also calling him the Daisy Dukes guy, because what type of grown man walks out of the house wearing something like that? I guess the type of grown man that goes to go makeup shopping at Ulta Beauty. So good for him, I guess. And, you know, the congresswoman brought up a good point. She has voted for gay marriage. She has been pro-LGB. I think even in the past, she has made multiple pro-gay statements saying we just shouldn't discriminate against gay people. We should let them live how they want to live. I believe she's more libertarian leaning on that issue. However, that does not mean that women have to sit here and accept harassment and abuse from feminine men or men in dresses or men who claim to be women in our locker rooms, in our sports, in our restrooms, etc. And I also saw the video that she referenced when she was on Hannity that she also posted, I think today or yesterday, about a transgender, I guess male to female. It was a man who was identifying as a woman standing up, coming up to the podium when she was at a town hall and arguing with her over the use of her phrasing and terminology when talking about transgenderism. And the moment that his voice dropped from kind of a high-pitched, fake woman-y voice to a low, intimidating man voice and started yelling at her in his deep voice, the whole facade just dropped. He did, in fact, pick up a potted fern, I believe, like almost like he was going to swing it at her. And the video cuts off before anything bad happened, so I don't think that anything violent occurred, but he picked up a potted plant that was seated next to the podium and just like picked it up like almost like he was going to hit her with it. So this is what women are talking about, conservative women. And even I myself leaned quite libertarian on LGBT issues prior to the last couple of years. Now I feel more inclined to say I support LGB without the T, because I don't see any similarities between wanting to love who you love and whatever that entails for you, whatever that means for you, if it's two consenting adults, compared to demanding that everybody refer to you as a female when you are a male with male anatomy, with male strength, with male height. Now, I don't necessarily believe that this individual in the current video that we just reacted to is identifying as transgender. I think he's just a nasty feminine man who thinks that because he is potentially gay or just flamboyant, that he can talk to women in any type of way and call them a nasty B word. He called her a nasty B word at least 2 or 3 times in that video. And you could say, well, the congresswoman did say F you, F you. She's trying to get him away. He won't leave her alone. He won't leave her alone. She's doing her personal shopping. She's not on the job. She's not on the clock right now. And he's asking about town hall when she does town halls all the time. So to me, that definitely annoyed me. And also she brought up on Hannity that she's a victim of sexual abuse. She's a victim of domestic abuse. And not to use like the left's term here, it can be quote unquote triggering. I think I'm using that correctly here and not in like a woke way, but it definitely can be triggering to be accosted by a grown, big man when you're out here minding your business and he's trying to talk to you in an intimidating way. And also, this is just right after, this is either right before or right after the transgender individual at her town hall event started yelling at her and picked up a potted fern like he was going to hit her with it. So yeah, I do think she has a right to say, F you, get away from me, leave me alone. Because if this was the other way around, let's say a Republican voter, a large Republican male voter, maybe he's not wearing his Daisy Dukes. I don't think a Republican would wear booty shorts like that. I don't think a Republican man would be at Ulta Beauty. But let's say we're at Tractor Supply, okay? Let's say a Republican man is at Tractor Supply and he's in overalls instead. And this Republican man sees Ilhan Omar. I feel like it would be unlikely that she's in a Tractor Supply, but for the sake of my take, let's just go with that. Would it be socially acceptable for that man to corner her in the feed aisle and she's saying, get away from me, F you, get away from me? Would it be acceptable for him to be like, well, when's your next town hall? It's a simple question. It's a simple question. You're a disgrace. You're a nasty B word. You're da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, absolutely not. And I would be reacting the same way too, because I don't think that any man or anyone, period, should be cornering an elected representative in an aisle in a store while she's doing her personal shopping. You know, it would be different possibly if she was coming down the steps of the Capitol. It would be different if this conversation was actually taking place at a public appearance at a town hall event. But this is none of the above. She's literally out doing her personal shopping. It doesn't appear that she has any security with her based on this video. So I'd have to assume that she's alone because I don't hear anybody else in the background. And, you know, going back to her personal experiences as a survivor, going through, you know, being victimized by men in her past, I totally understand her reaction. And I would totally be saying the same thing if it was a Republican voter accosting Ilhan Omar. But Republicans generally don't do stuff like this because Republican men, at least in my experience, they don't do this whole, like, this is a real example of toxic masculinity. If I had to define toxic masculinity, it would kind of be this. And I don't mean to say that this is a masculine, manly man. I would just say that the way he is weaponizing his stature, the fact that he's a man, but also weaponizing, like, his flamboyancy and, like, toxic femininity almost is just, it's just nasty. Like, you just think you can talk to women any type of way because you are who you are and you're flamboyant and you're in the makeup aisle and it's just like you're acting like it's a little cat fight. No, this isn't a cat fight, sir. You're a grown man accosting a woman who is much smaller than you, as I can tell by the size of you in these little freaking shorts, okay? So, and it's also very much out there that Congresswoman Mace has been accosted multiple times by these types of individuals lately, even more than what she just mentioned on Hannity. There's been several other videos that she has posted that have come out of people threatening her. She has had threats on her life. She gets harassed in the Twitter DMs or the X DMs every single day. If you guys just follow her, you'll see this. And I've been following her for a few years now, and it really only picked up when she started talking about transgenderism. I'll just put that out there. It really only picked up when she started saying, men shouldn't be in women's sports. Men shouldn't be in my locker room. Men shouldn't be, there's even a transgender Congress. There's a Congress trans, okay? I'm not going to say Congresswoman because that feels weird, but Congress trans Sarah McBride wanted to use the women's bathrooms on the Hill, on Capitol Hill, and Nancy Mace was like, no, I don't want you in there. I don't want somebody who is of a male stature, has male anatomy, has male strength to be in there with me. And I think that is totally fine. I feel the exact same way. I know Democrat women who also feel that way, and they're just too scared to speak up. So I commend Representative Mace for speaking up because it's just like, you know, she even, I think, has considered herself a feminist in the past. And there's all these, like, feminists who say nothing about this. So I think that Mace is doing real activism for real women and not giving away space to men. It's our space. So anyways, thank you for watching. I know that was kind of a doozy, but I hope to share with you some more reaction videos at PolitiBrawl coming soon.